Okay, so today, excuse me. So today we are going to work on savable data pages. Okay, very important from interview point of view, although we don't use it much in real time. Okay, because it is one of the new features that came up in 7.4 version. Okay, so first of all, let me open any data page. Okay, and we'll talk about it. Let me go to Records Explorer, or let me go to data type explorer. So whenever you create a new data type in Pega, okay, whenever you create any new data type in Pega and you are defining the primary key, you know, right, where you define the primary key under records tab, you generally get a button configure source. You click on that button and you define the primary key. So when you define the primary key and you click on the submit button on that pop-up window, okay, you will have options. You know, this data pages are getting created by default. Pega will create 3 data pages for every new data class that you create. See, by default you get 3 data pages like this: list mastercard, just mastercard, and savable. Then why is it not present for customer data, transaction, and visa? Because I disabled that checkbox. There is a checkbox, create these 3 default data pages. I disabled it because I would like to create my own data pages. I don't want Pega to create and give me, and be if I'm not using them, they're just lying in my server without any usage. So why should I have some unnecessary rules? If I want them, I will create them. So that is the reason I disabled that checkbox when I created this transaction details table, visa table, and other tables. However, I retained it for this one because I wanted you to know that whenever you create a new data type in Pega, by default, Pega will create 3 default data pages. First data page is just, d underscore whatever user table name, and that will be of type page. Means this will have only one single record of data on it. And that is the reason if you look at the bottom, it will have lookup. Lookup means obj open. You just give the primary key, it will get that row of data. And how do you pass the primary key? Here you have to pass like a parameter. So first data page is just of type structure page. It will have a lookup. It's just like obj open. One single record of data they will fetch. Second data page is of type list. That is the reason in the name you will see the word list. And of course, the structure is list means multiple rows of data. So in order to fetch multiple rows of data, there are two options. One, use an activity. Two, use a report definition. So instead of obj browse, I can go for a report definition and fetch the data, right? So Pega doesn't encourage activities. So they use report definition to fetch the data. Now, the third data page is savable data page. You can see in the name, there's a word savable. And here, instead of read only, editable, you will see savable. Okay. And there is a slight change. See, the structure, the class, mode, scope remains the same. The source, here it was lookup, here it was report definition, right? So here it is lookup. The same thing here. Source can be anything. A lookup, a report definition, it can be anything. However, there is something new in a savable data page. That is, if you move to the bottom of the screen, you see something called as data save options. Till here, it is exactly the same like any normal data page. But whereas you see an extra option called as data save option. So what is the use of this one? See, till day you use the data page only to fetch the data. Use the report definition, fetch the data, keep it on a data page, display it on the screen, loop on it, do whatever you want. Same thing here. Use the data page, fetch the data, do whatever you want with it. But these were only to fetch the data. You never use a data page to insert data into database, right? Even if you try, you may think like, Nicola, why can't I use obj save method and data page as a step page and save the data? It is not going to insert data like that. It will not. You will get either a runtime error or a exception It will not allow you to insert data using this data page as a step page. You can't do that. So how can we save the data into DB then? Let me ask you a question, guys. Let's say I have a table layout. You know what is a table layout, right? Like an Excel sheet, you have data, multiple rows of data. Okay, like this. Oh, after a long time, we are going back to Paytm again. Okay, so like this, I have a table layout with the data, and the client gave us an option to, edit the data. If you double click on the row, let's say I can edit the data, and there's a plus icon here. I can insert data into this table layout. Okay, let's assume that. Okay, I can edit the data in the table layout, and I can also add new rows of data in the table layout. Okay, now this table layout is being sourced using a data page. You know, right? If you create a section and take a table layout, user interface, sections, collect info. Okay, here instead of using this page property, I mean like page list property, we used data page earlier, if you remember, right? So we can use a data page as a source, right? So all this data which is coming can come from a data page. And if I do any editings or if I add a new record of data, it will be present on the data page, right? Under data pages category on the clipboard, that page will be there with all the updated data and edited data and new records of data it will hold. Now, can I create an activity, do a looping for each embedded page and say obj save on that iteration? It is not going to work. Okay, it will not work because data pages we use only for inserting data. I mean, like only for fetching the data. You can't insert data. Now, so what is the challenge here? Why can't you use a activity and insert, instead of data page, why don't you just do an obj browse, keep the page list here, update the data. Yes, you can do that. But right, as per Pega's best practices, we're not supposed to use activities and use a replacement to it. Okay, so how do we used to do in Pega in earlier versions of Pega when we don't have a savable data page? So in earlier versions of Pega, what we used to do is, yes, use a data page here, fetch the data. After fetching the data, edit the data in the table layout or add new records in the table layout. So this data page contains some new records of data or edited data, which I have to save back to DB. Pega will not allow you to do obj save on a data page's step page. Data page's step page and obj saves, they don't allow. Then what should I do? You have to copy the data into some temporary clipboard pages, do a page copy, and then do an obj save on that temporary clipboard page. You have to do an obj save. Okay, so that was the approach in earlier days when we didn't have a savable data page. Any questions so far, guys? Anyone, any questions from the session? Okay. Now let's see how you can do it today. Today, there is a new type of data page called a savable data page. This type of data pages did not exist before 7.4 version of Pega. Of course, you guys are in 8.7, 8.8, so it doesn't matter. Okay, but few years back we didn't have this option. So how, now how can you do it? Now what you can do is just use a data page to fetch the data just like you did earlier. Okay, just take it of type page or page list as you wish. Take the class to which you want to insert the data. Just mention that it is savable. Okay, it's savable. Now scope, no node scope. Okay, please remember this. Savable data pages cannot be at node level. They can only be at thread and requester level. Okay, no node scope. Okay, now come down. You will have this multiple sources just like you did earlier, nothing different. You will have connectors, data transform, reports, lookup, activity, and RPA. just like you did, nothing different. Now the only thing which is different is this one, data save options. So far what are you doing? You're just fetching the data. Okay, so whatever data you have fetched is present on D underscore Mastercard transaction savable data page. Now it's my turn to insert the data into DB. So if you scroll down, these are the ways that you can insert data into DB. Okay, if it is a single record of data, we say database save, and you just mention the name of the class to which you want to save the data. Okay, and what is the use of this data transform? So after saving, sorry, while saving the data, if you want to edit the values, or you want to append something, do any kind of data changes, you use this data transform. Okay, and please remember, very important interview question, database save option will be available only if it is of type page. Okay, what is if it is of type list? Come down, see, there is no database save option. This is a very important interview question. Okay, remember, database save option will not be present if it is of type list. Only for single record of data they will say, they will blindly say go ahead and save the data to this particular class, whatever class you mention, in that class they will blindly go and save the data. Okay, now what is second option? See here, here also you have activity, there also you have activity. Okay, so what do you do in that activity? Write down an activity. Okay, write down your logic to insert the data. Maybe before inserting the data, you want to append something, you want to call some function on the data, truncate, trim, add something, you want to sort it, do XYZ things before you insert data. Then you create an activity and you insert the data. Any questions so far? Now, few important interview questions here are, they
Yeah,
ask you
Nikhila,
what are the
one doubt.
sources. Go ahead.
Yeah, in the activity, we need to mention the OBJ7 for this one.
Which activity? This activity?
You said yes, yes.
No, no, no. We don't mention OBJ save. Oh yeah, yes,
Okay,
of course, yes, yes. Here you mention OBJ save.
okay. We will do our logic. After that, we will mention OBJ7 commit.
Right. So you will
Okay,
loop on
thank
the data page and you will see OBJ save. Earlier days, we couldn't directly loop on the data page. What we used to do? Copy all this data from data page into any other clipboard page, and then loop on the clipboard page and save the data and commit the data on the clipboard page. So this extra clipboard page is no longer required. I can just loop on the data page itself and do a save and commit on the data page itself. Okay. Any other questions, guys, before we move forward? Okay. Now let's try to understand how this works. So few important questions here, interview questions here. They'll ask you, what is the data source of a data page? Just like your normal data page, all these things will be there. And then they will ask you under save, what all sources you will find. See, generally in Pega, you can save only using activity, right? Data transform can't save the data. Report definition can't save the data. Decision rules can't save the data. Declarative rules can't save the data. Flow can't save the data. Sections and flow actions can't save the data, right? So the only option that you have to save the data is activity using obj save. So that is one option. Second option is they say database save. So when you just mention the class name in the back end, Pega will call some activity and save the data. Okay. End of the day, it is only activity who is inserting data into DB. Now there's a small twist here. Okay. Now generally, how do you call your data pages? You call it either on a section table layout or in a drop down as a source to fetch the data, right, and display it on the screens. Or in an activity, you can give it as a step page, or in an activity on the property set right hand side, you can use, or in data transform, you can use as the step page to loop, or on the set method on the right hand side, append and append to map to method right hand side, you can use. So like this, you're always using it to fetch the data only. Okay, now I have to insert data. Now how can I trigger this? If I call it the step page, Okay, or if I call it as a property set right hand side source, data will not get inserted. Why? Because if you call like that, you're just only fetching the data, right? Using it as a step page. Pega will go and check, is that page present on the clipboard? If yes, go fetch the data. Using it as a property set right hand side source. Pega will check, is this data page present on the clipboard? Go fetch the data. That's it. You didn't write any logic to save the data there. So now the same way, guys, if you use it as a step page or as a property set right hand side source or in a data transform you're using it, they only trigger till here. This part will not get triggered. This part will not get triggered. Well, you may be thinking, yeah, I'm calling my data page. Why only this is getting triggered? Why not this one? Yes, this will not get triggered. Okay, only till here it will get triggered. Then when will this get triggered? So there are three ways to call your savable data pages. Very important interview question. How do you trigger a savable data page? There are three ways. One, go to your case type rule. Okay. Try to add a new automation. Okay. So here you will find it load data page. Okay. So this is one of the ways to call a savable data page. Load data page is a smart shape or a automation which is existing in Pega to trigger a savable data page. Okay. Now what is the other way to call it? The other way to call it is go to your flow action. Now before that, let me open this, let me open this flow and show you from the flow level as well. In the flow, check out. Okay. In the flow, there is something called as automations. Okay. And here you'll find an option load data page. Same thing you called there, nothing new. They both are one and the same. Okay, these are called as smart shapes in Pega, guys. I'll talk about them. So you can see load data page and you can see it's yellow in color. Utilities are generally yellow in color, right? And you call activity on top of utility. So all these are nothing but Pega's OTB activities. Smart shapes are nothing but Pega's OTB activities. So if you want to call Pega's load data page activity, just keep this shape. Okay, or you can keep a utility shape and call the Pegasus OOTB activity. Both are one and the same. Okay. So this is one way to call a savable data page. Only when you say load data page and give your data page name, only then Pega will execute this part. Okay. Only then it will do the save option. Otherwise, if you refer it as a step page or if you refer it as a source in a property set, only till here the data will get executed. This will not get triggered until and unless you use it as a load data page source. That's one way. Second way is,
Nikhila, I think it is saved data page. Yeah. Smart Shape something we have saved data page. Load data page is
oh,
normal for the normal data pages,
oh,
right?
I'm sorry. You're right. Exactly. Sorry. You're right. We have a smart shape load data page. I'm sorry, guys. I just because I saw, yeah, it is save data page. Sorry, not load data page. Load data page was used to load the data page, right? Just triggering a data page in the flow, like how you refer it in a step page or how you refer it in a drop down or a table layout. If you want to trigger a data page in the flow, we use load data page. Okay. In order to save the data page, it is save data page. Okay. It was my mistake. Yeah. Save data page is the option. Now, the other way is go to your flow action. Okay. In the flow action, you can call your data page, savable data page. Okay, 1 second, guys. So for this, you have to go to the actions tab. You know, right? You have pre-processing, post-processing. Pre-processing means before loading the screen. If I want to fetch data or do something, we write down an activity or data transform here. After submitting the screen, if I have to, do anything like an activity or a data transform, we do it here. So here you see you have savable data pages. Okay, so using this, or you can call a savable data page. Okay, and please remember that this option is not present in pre-processing. Only for post-processing, you will have savable data page option. The third option is go to your activity, take any temporary activity. Again, here there is a method called as, okay, save hyphen data page. Okay, here again there is a chance of confusion, guys, because here also there is a method called as load data page. Just like you had a smart shape, right? Load data page, save data page, and I was confused. The same way here also you have two methods, load data page and save data page. So please remember, it is save data page, it is not load data page. What is the use of load data page? Just to call the data page asynchronously. Means, if you remember, I told you this. After step 4, generally we go to step 5, right? After completion of step 4, we go to step 5. Whereas if you want to load the data page in the background and you don't want till the step 4 is completed, you just want to move to step 5, step 6, and step 7 without waiting for the output of step 4, you want to continue, then we use load data page. That is nothing but loading a data page asynchronously in the background in a separate thread, it will happen. Okay. Now, this is the method for savable data pages. Just you have to give save data page and give your data page name. And just like obj save has right now, you have right now here. They will insert the data and they'll commit the data. Okay. So there are three ways to call a savable data page. One, use your smart shape save data page. Two, flow action post processing. Call your save data page. Three, activity method save data page. Any questions so far, guys? This is a very important interview question.
Nikhila, so in case type also it is save data page only. We added
No,
new
no,
automations.
case type is nothing but the smart shape, right? They both are one and the same. Load
Okay.
data page here is nothing but the shape here. Whatever shapes you had, you will see here. They both are one and the same. Okay. Now, can we use a
Nikhila, one
savable
more
data
thing.
page? Yeah, go ahead.
Nicola, in the data page for the database save option we have in the this data page, right? So in that one we are looping and we are doing obj save and commit. So can't we do directly in the activity where we are referring the data page, the savable data page?
No, then what will you do here? According to the structure designed by Pega, this is the place, we have to loop and do all that things. See, it is a mandatory thing. So without mentioning that you can't save. So if you have an opportunity to do all that here, why again you want to explicitly do? And this is a mandatory one, right? So you can't exit without doing this.
Now, yes, what I'm saying, because in this activity we can do obj save by looping into the data page, right?
This activity, right? You're talking about?
Yes, 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 yes.
Right, right.
So if we call this activity, if we call this savable database somewhere in the activity or in the flow, do we need to do obj save and commit again, because
How are
already
you
we did
going
in
to
the
call,
data save
how
options.
are you going to call it? Are you going to call it using save data page or load data page or just as a step page or just as a, property set source? See, it differs. If you're using a save data page, then this part will execute and they will insert the data, do obj saves and all. Whereas if you're using load data page or just using as a step page and trying to iterate and do obj save, then it is not going to work.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I was telling you. Only if you use save data page option or flow action post processing or save data page method in the activity, only then this part of the data page will execute. If you just refer it as a step page or just refer it as a property set source, only these two will execute. The below part will not get executed,
In the save data page option, if you see in the activity, they have given like right now. So
right?
if this already we are executing, means we already wrote the logic in the save data save option, then why this right now is required in the save data page, Nikhila?
No, we only do a save there. Do you want to commit or not? You have to do it here. You only keep
Okay,
the
only
data
for,
there.
okay.
And also remember, you also have page structure, right? So in page structure, it is you don't have activity. We just use local save. When it is of type page, where is it savable data page? Yeah, if when it's of type page, let's say using this one. Okay. So in this case, also you don't need to do commits and all, right? Pega will auto commit. And when you're using activity, just only try to copy the data. No need to do any write nows here. There you're going to commit. So why there you're going to commit, just think of this. This data page is being used in 10 screens in my project. Okay. So if you write down the logic to do a commit here, what if in certain areas I want to execute some precondition or when condition, and only if the when condition is true, I want to do a commit. If the when condition is false, I don't want to do a commit. So if you write down that obj save and commits here, I can't bypass that commit, right? Wherever this is being used, this will execute. Whereas in the calling area, like this is being called from a activity using save data page method, there, I have that option, right? I can use a precondition and I can bypass it. So instead of committing here, do there, so that it is much more flexible. Wherever I want, I can auto commit. Wherever I don't want, I can execute a when condition and bypass the commits. So that is also a benefit you get if you do not commit here.
Nikhila, normal commit method will work in the activity?
Yes, it will
Do we need
work.
to go for the
No,
save
you
data
you
page
can
right
you
now?
can no, no, you're asking like instead of going for a savable data page, can I use a normal data page and say obj save
No,
right now
no,
and
no.
commit, you're
No,
asking?
no,
Hmm.
we cannot do that one, right? So
Okay,
savable
right.
data page only, we save data page, we have some method in the activity, right? So in that
Right.
one we are using the right now.
Right
How
now.
we
Instead of right now,
have
you
some,
want to say commit.
yeah, commit method.
Of course, right? See, just like obj save and right now. Let's say I have multiple obj saves, okay? Like this. We did right. If based on a condition, okay, you were doing commit at the bottom.
It's like that. If for the save data page
You
also we
can do.
can do the commit.
You can do the same way you can do.
Okay.
Okay. So if you don't want to commit right now, later you want to commit, you can do a commit later. You can do that. Although I never attempted, but I remember it is possible. Okay, it's doable. If you don't want to commit now, later on you can do the commits. Why don't we check now? We'll write down a piece of code and we'll check. Any other questions, guys? As I told you, savable data pages we don't use too much in real time, very less used. Okay. However, very important from interview point of view because this is considered as one of the recent features of Pega. Although it is maybe like 3 or 4 years back they have introduced this, but still people ask you in the interviews because they think it's a new feature, so they ask you. Now let's implement one savable data page concept. Okay, before we implement it, let me give you a quick recap of this theory part again. Savable data pages are nothing but data pages which you can save or insert data into DB. Guys, you can either update data or insert data, because some people are under the impression that we can only update the data. I mean, like some trainees I'm talking about in my old batches. We can both insert and update the data using a savable data page. Now, the structure should be of type savable, only then you can insert data. And till here, the structure is common because till here you're only fetching the data. There's no change. However, there's an extra option that you see, that is data save options. You have two types. You can use either an activity or a data save or a connect soap rule and all these things. But generally, we use only data save and activity to insert the data. If you say database save means a single record of data, Pega will automatically insert into the DB table. If you say activity, generally for list structures we use activity. It's not mandatory that only for list structure I should activity. No, guys. Okay, even for page structure you can use activity. But in general terms, I'm saying when it is a list structure, we prefer to write down an activity and insert data into DB, because you want to loop on it and do all such things. Now, as mentioned, this part of the data page will be triggered only when you call a savable data page on a flow using the smart shape save data page, not load data page. Second, activity method save data page, not load data page. Third, flow action post processing has an option to call a savable data page. There you can call. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to, this is my requirement. My requirement is whenever I enter the customer account number, okay, I want you to fetch the data and display on the screen. Customers data I want you to fetch and display on the screen. And there is an option, there is a feasibility for the end user to change his first name, last name, email ID and contact number. If a customer wants to change that data, he can change it. Okay, so that is a screen design I want to do. Now I should use a savable data page. If the customer updates its data, I want to use a savable data page to insert that data into DB. So this is my requirement, guys. Let's see how can we do it. So first of all, I will create a savable data page under customer data class. Create data model data page. Okay. So I will name it as update customer info or update customer data or customer data underscore savable. As you wish, you name it as you wish. And I'm planning to deal with the customer class, right? So why is my work class present here? So I would like to take my customer class. Okay, now move ahead. Thread requester depends on your requirement. Here it is thread level. Okay, or you can even take request level if you think that, oh, customer support representative is creating work objects on behalf of the customers, then you can take it as a requested level also. If you think multiple times the customer may call, and it depends on your situation and your requirement. Now, single record of data, let's say I want to update single record of data because my customer calls and he will tell me, hey, this is my account number. I will fetch the data, means one record of data I'm fetching, and I will update his first name, last name or email ID or contact number and submit and save. So it is single record of data I'm dealing with. So I'm taking a page structure. I'm not taking a list structure because one single customer, right? So page structure. Now, what is a source? How are you going to fetch the data? Hold on. Hold on. The most important thing we are missing. It should be savable, right? This is the most important thing. It should be of type savable. Okay. Now, there are different ways to fetch the data. You either use an activity obj open because single record of data, right? Or you write down a report definition, or you use a lookup. Why not lookup? Let's take lookup and just mention the class, which class you want to pull the data. Lookup is just like obj open. It will automatically fetch one single record of data. So let's use obj lookup customer
Nikhila,
data. Yes, please.
I see option where it says connected, so we can always get the data using a REST service or something like that.
Rust or SOAP or any other external system you can connect and you can get the data. Not necessarily SOAP on Rust, right? You can also do multiple options. Okay. So if you're getting data from an external system, we use that connector. Okay. Now look up. I'm just trying to fetch only one single record of data. Now try to save your changes. What does it say? Parameter account number is required. Did I tell that, account number is a primary key in this table? No, I didn't mention anywhere. But why is it is telling? Account number parameter is mandatory because this is the primary key of the class. Okay, so because it is a primary key, they are telling you, please give me the primary key. It is just like obj open. Obj open doesn't work if you don't pass the primary key of that class, right? Exactly the same behavior. You have to pass the primary key, otherwise this is not going to work. Now, did I declare any parameters? I didn't, right? So now what I have to do is I have to pass a account number here. You can't hard code it, right? So either you say page name dot property name like py workpage dot account number, temp dot account number, test data dot account number, something dot account number. You pass a property or pass a parameter. Using parameters is much better, guys. Okay, because it makes the rule more and more reusable. If you say py workpage.account number, maybe in some other place the account number is present on a different page, then this rule is not reusable, right? So as much as possible, use parameters. So I'm going to define a parameter like this as account number and come here. Let me give a save once, and I know the error will not vanish, but my parameter gets saved at least. So I'm going to pass my parameter here. Param dot is the word we use to pass or refer parameters. If you're referring a parameter, we say param dot, right? So whoever calls this data page should pass account number as a parameter. Then they will pass that account number and fetch that customer data. So whatever code you have written so far is just to fetch the customer data only. Now, where is the logic to insert data into DB? If you scroll down, you just said database save and you told into this table I want to save the data. So it is going to save data into this table. Now, some people ask you, what is the use of this data transform rule here? Generally, the use of this one is, suppose I'm fetching data from customer data table, okay, and I want to insert data into some other table. Okay, now in this class the properties are different, in the other class the properties are different, right? So you have to do a property set and copy the data from this class to other class. So that is the reason we have this data transform, just in case if you want to copy or move the data from one class to another class and then save it, you use the data transform to do that. Very important from interview point of view. Remember this. The use of this data transform is just you want to update the data before inserting. But generally, what kind of updates we do? From one class to another class, you want to move the data and then do the data on the destination class. Do the save on the destination class. We use that. So check in your code. Created for story 123. Story is nothing but requirement. Okay, done. Now it's time to call my data page. Okay, first of all, what is your requirement? User will enter customer account number on the screen. Then on the screen, you have to get me the data and display it. Then you edit it. Then save it. So where is the UI design then first? So let's go into the UI design. So I'm going to create, okay, somebody is going to guide me on this one. Deepika, will you able to tell me how to create a section? Deepika, are you there? Okay. Bharati, are you there? Bharati. People don't want to respond. Okay, let me take it. Create user interface. section, right? Now, I'm going to call it as update customer info, and this is being created in the work class. Look at this, okay? So just for your understanding, I'm writing it as underscore work class. You might be thinking, why Nikhila, till day we never wrote a suffix like this? Underscore work class, underscore data class, we never wrote like this. Why are you writing like this today? Because today I'm going to teach you embedded sections as well. Along with savable data pages, I want to cover embedded sections. So that is the reason I'm adding a suffix so that you understand this is section created in the work class. Okay. Now I'm just going into the full editor mode. Okay. Now here the user will enter the account number, right? User will enter account number and you have to fetch the data which is relevant to the particular account and display on the screen. So what I will do is text box to enter account number here. Okay. Now, yeah, that's fine. We'll add a text box to enter the account number here. And then, okay, let me map the property account number here. Dot account number. Okay, so you can enter the account number here. Now I want to display the corresponding account details like customer first name, customer last name, email ID, phone number, so that he can edit the data in the DB table, right? Customer table has all this info and I want the user to have an opportunity to edit the data. Maybe he changed his email ID or maybe he changed his mobile number. So I want to give him an opportunity to update that. So now what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to take an embedded section. What is embedded section? Section inside section is called as embedded section. Okay. Now here I'm going to say use data page. Okay. In the context of the data page, what is my data page context? Customer data class. Okay. So in the context of my data page, D underscore update customer info, you have to pass account number as an input dot account number. Okay. And give a section name. Why am I doing all this? Think of the requirement. You pass the account number. I will get the data from DB and display it. You edit the data. I will save it to DB. Okay. First half is you pass account number. I will get the data from DB and display it. How can I display it? It's one single record of data, right? So as it is one single record of data, if I want to display the output, I need multiple text boxes like this. One for customer first name, one for customer last name, customer email ID, customer phone number, right? So you have to map customer first name, last name, email ID, and phone number. Now, customer email is there. Do you have properties as customer first name, customer last name, customer email, customer phone number? Do you have any such properties? Customer address? We don't have, right? So what you have to do now, suppose if I'm using this data page to fetch the data, let's run and see. Any valid account number, please. Flush it. Okay. Turn on the tracer. Run. You see the data is coming, right? Now this data is coming from which class properties? Click on these properties. Data class, right? Data class properties. Data class. Okay. So all the data is present in data class properties. Now I want to show the data here in the work class. What can I do now? This is work class. The data is present on data class properties on the data page. Why don't you go and check the data page? What's my data page name? D underscore update customer info, right? Where do you find data pages, guys? Anyone from the session? Where do you find data pages? Anyone from the session, please?
The data pages.
Inside data page.
The data
Inside
Inside
pages.
data
data
pages
pages.
category, right? So we go to data pages category. This is a thread level data page. So look for your data page here. D underscore update customer info is not present here.
It was in the user
Okay,
pages.
exactly right. It is under the user pages. Where is that D underscore update? Here. Okay.
Class.
Did you see this? Who was that? Who answered it? Suresh? Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. Why the pages here? Again, very important interview question. Let me, capture a screenshot of this. Otherwise, you guys will miss it. The reason it is found under this, this one is under user pages is, please remember guys, if the data page is editable or if the data page is savable, okay, you will find the data page under user pages category. Okay, if your data page is editable or savable, you will find it under user pages category and not under data pages category. So now where is my data page? D underscore update customer info. It's a parameterized page, right? So square brackets open, parameter name colon value, and here is my data. Okay. Now this data I want to show in the section, but section is in work class. So if I want to show this data in section, what I have to do? I have to go here and I have to give the data page name dot property name, which is not a good design. Okay. So what is the other way to do it is create your section in the class where the data is present. Data is present in customer data class, right? Look at the brackets. Customer data class is holding the output, right? Your screen is in work class. So what I will do is I will not do like this. Data is in data class, right? So right click, create user interface section. I'm going to create a section in the user interface class. Update customer info underscore data class. In data class, I'm creating, guys, in real time, you're not going to add tags like this underscore data class underscore work class. No, please. Just for your learning, I'm adding like that. Customer data class, right? Now create and open. The most important takeaway from this is data pages of type savable or editable are found under user pages category, not under data pages category. Now it's time for you to add the, whatever you want to display on the screen. I would like to display this account number, card number, account number and card number he is not supposed to change. Bank balance is not supposed to change. How can user come and change his bank balance? Only contact, email, first name, last name. If he wants, he can change. Even first name, last name, generally we don't allow, but just I'm writing here. Okay. So just I would need only, okay. So I will allow him to change only. See, I'm in data class, guys. Okay, careful. I will allow him to change only the name and the customer details. I want him to change, right? So this will be of type editable because the person can come and change the data. He can change his first name. If you don't want the labels to be like this, okay, you can change your label, guys. You can just disable this and you can give your label. Like this, you can give whatever label you want. Okay, instead of displaying F name, L name, it looks very dirty, right, for the front end users. So you can even, change your label here. Like this, you can change. Now what next? First name, last name, email ID, and the contact number. Again, if it doesn't look good, you can change here. It doesn't look good, so I'll just say contact. Okay. Now my section is in the data class. Why did I keep it in the data class? Because my output is from the data class. And if I keep my section in the work class, it's a little difficult for me to map the things. Maybe I need an extra activity or a data transform to move the data from here to the work class, display, and all that I have to do. Instead, why don't you create a UI in the data class itself? It's quite easy to map. That's fine. Now, how do you map it on the flow? Your flow is in the work class. Your section is in the data class. How do you map it? So what you're going to do is you are going to create a parent section in the work class. And in the parent section, you use an option called as embedded section. Embedded section means section inside a section. One flow can call another flow. One activity can call another activity. One DT can call another DT. Similarly, one section can call another section. So embedded sections, parent section and child section. In which class your section is there? Is it in the work class? No. These are my work class sections. Where is it? In data class. So take any page which belongs to data class. Okay. Take any clipboard page. You can take any clipboard page and you can give the data class here. Okay. And you can give your section name here. But I'm going to give my data page. Why? How will this section get data? Did you write any activity with OBJ browser, OBJ open? No. What did we write? We wrote a data page which has a lookup to fetch the data. So the data output is on data page. This output I want to display on this section, right? So here don't give clipboard page, then give data page, because on data page I have this details. So on data page I'm calling my section so that that data will display on the section automatically. D underscore update customer info. It's asking me account number. Account number you will enter at the top, right? So I'm passing it. And this is my section name. Once again, a quick recap. Okay. The requirement is the user enters account number, and when he hits on the search button, automatically the data has to display. If not search, at least on change refresh or something we can do. The data has to automatically display on the screen, and he should be able to edit the data. Now, in this context, I'm using savable data pages, okay, to fetch the data. So the output is present on a savable data page, and it is of the classes of type customer data. So if I keep my section in the work class, the properties are coming from the data class. So in between, I have to write an activity or a data transform to copy the data from data class to work class and then display on the screen. Instead, why don't you create the section itself in the data class and refer it in the work class? Okay. And for referring it, you can just give any page which belongs to customer data class. But if the data is present on that page, then only it will display in the section. Now, where is my data present? On data page. So I can't give any other clipboard page. I should give data page only. So whatever data is present in this data page, it will be automatically filled in this section. Okay, whatever data you have on this data page, it will automatically come into this section. So in this data page, I have like close to 20 properties. All 20 I can display here. Whatever is there, I can display PZ key, PX update system ID, all these things I can display here because I'm giving that as my source. So submit. So account number is coming from work class. This whole thing is coming from embedded section. Save. Oh, now you remember after entering account number, the user has to refresh the screen, right? Otherwise, they will not receive the output. Either you add a search button and say on click refresh, or directly here you can say on change of value. Please refresh my screen so that I can get a fresh copy of data. No need to call anything here. Just refresh is enough. Save. Check in. Any questions so far, guys? Okay, let's move ahead then. Now it's time to test your changes. Okay, now I'm saying it's time to test your changes. How can you plug in this section in the flow? Anyone? How can I plug in this section in the flow, guys? Please help me.
Create a flow action.
Wonderful. Why others are not responding? Create, process, flow action, update, customer info. Okay, I'm just creating called as update customer info. It's in the work class. Yes, it's in the work class. Now just call your section here. Save your changes. Now, how will I call my data page? There are three ways to call the savable data page, right? One, from the flow using save data page smart shape, not load data page, guys. Second, from the flow action you can call, right? So here I have an opportunity to call savable data page. So why not call it here so that the data gets inserted? Now, what is the data page name? No, let's do one thing. Let's first try without calling the data page. Oh, is it not allowing me now? Let's first try without calling the data page how it will work. Let me show you. Now flow action is done. Why don't you call it on the flow? Now case type rule. Okay. You can add somewhere here. You can add it right. But now I'm not going to do there. I'm going to do it under optional actions. Now what is an optional action? Optional action means that that particular screen or that particular flow is not mandatory. See, it's not mandatory for every user to change his first name, last name, and phone number, right? Just in case if they want, they will do it. If it is not required, they will not do it. So if you keep it under any stage here, it becomes a mandatory screen. So after collect info, after fetch customer info, everybody has to go to that update customer info and change the data. Why is that so? I don't want to change my data. Why are you making the screen a mandatory screen? So you can plug in this screen under optional actions like this. Okay, you can give your flow action under case wide optional actions or stage only optional actions. So what is the difference between these two? If you want a screen to display, these are optional actions, guys. Okay, like these are optional actions. So like this you can see, right? View history. It's an optional screen. It's not mandatory every time you go to history screen. Okay, or you can say change stage. All these are optional actions. Okay, now some actions will be available throughout the case, whether you're in collect info or provisional credit or representment or write off, throughout the case they will display. Some will display only when you're on a particular stage, only when you're in enrichment, you want this to display. Only when you're in chargeback, you want this to display. So there are two options here. Either you go for optional action throughout the work object or only under specific stage. If under specific stage, you can add here. If throughout the work object, you add here. Okay, now I want to add my flow action here. Remember, you have to mark it as a relevant record, otherwise they will not display, right? So I'm marking it as a relevant record. I didn't give my data page purposefully because I want to see if I don't give the savable data page how it will behave. Okay, and here now you just create a new work object. Where is this? Didn't I save my case type? Looks, oh, I didn't even plug in it in the case type. Sorry. Look for your screen. What is that? Update customer info, right? Update customer info section. Okay. So instead of adding my flow action, Under the actual flow path, I added it under the optional actions. Why? Because that's not a mandatory screen. Why should everyone go into that screen? So I added it as a optional action. Now, where is that? Let me also capture a screenshot of this. Okay. Now, every time you open the flow, this will come. So just change it to life cycle tab and save it. Otherwise, every time you open the flow, you will go to optional actions. Just save your changes. Now go create a work object and see how it is behaving. Actions. There's an option update customer info. You can enter the account number. Just click outside. Database has fetched the data. Do you see? Okay. Turn on the tracer. Oh, there is an already a tracer executing. Acha, okay. Close it. Turn on full tracer. Okay. Just make sure you have data pages enabled in the tracer. Yes, it is. Okay. Data got changed, right? Tracer. You can see they are only fetching the data. Do you see it? They're only fetching the data. There is no commit. All such things are not happening. Means inserting data is not happening. But am I calling a savable data page? Yes, I'm calling a savable data page only. But did you see this part of the code did not get executed? Okay, many people doesn't know this. Okay, so you need to understand this part will not get executed until and unless you call this in a flow smart shape save data page, activity method save data page, or flow action post processing savable data page. Until and unless you do this, this is just used like a normal data page to fetch the data. Only when you use these three options, this becomes a savable data page, which means this data page you can use it in n number of places just to fetch the data. If you want to insert it, call it using those three options. If not, just use it to fetch the data. That's it. Okay, now how do I insert the data into DB then? Simple. Go to the, either your case type or your flow action, whatever you want, you can take. Let me take the flow action thing. Where is that flow action? I'm just adding my data page here. You can also give a when condition and you can do if you have any, conditional based save if you want to do. Just update customer info is mine. Okay. Right? If you want to see who has made this change, you can always check in the history. So whatever comments you have written, people will check, okay, this person has added that comment and this is what they have done. See, added savable data page. Who did it? Nikhila. When? This date. Now it's time to test your changes. Let's again create a new work object or open the existing work object. Recent claims. It's an optional action, right? So no need to open the work object. It's here. Give your account number 12345. It's a test account number I have, dummy account number. I would like to change the data here. Okay. Now, why don't you keep the tracer handy? Submit. In the flow action post processing, you're calling that, right? So in the post processing, it got triggered, failed to save data page. Why? Data page has errors and cannot be, no records were found for the lookup. How come, man? How are you getting this data then? What? No records for lookup. What does this mean? Something is fishy. 67890. We're fetching the data. Oh, nothing in the tracer to debug. Flow action post processing. Say autopopulate failed to save data page. No records were found for the lookup.
Maybe the account number is not getting
Then
passed.
how will I get the data? We tried. That's the reason the data is coming.
Nicola, we got the data, but if in order to save with, we need to save with the primary key, right? We did not give the primary key in the for saving the data page.
This is the primary key table. This is the primary key. If you go and check my table,
Account number is a primary key, right?
exactly. So I gave account number only, right? So this is the primary key, and that's what I have given there. But
No, for
unfortunately, if
fetching
you
the data,
see
we gave
here,
account number. For saving the
no,
data, if you want to save, we need to give account number, right? So it will go and put in that particular account number.
where do you think we have to give?
Here, in the section,
In
we
the
need to
section,
display the
I'm
account
giving,
number.
right? I'm giving account number, right? In the parent section, if you see, I'm giving the account number. Oh, for display. Oh, you're right. Oh.
Yeah.
But hold on. No, that's not required. See, when I'm getting it, it's getting the whole row of data, right? It is lookup. It will get you the entire row of data. So if you saw the previous screenshot which I captured, it will get the entire row of data on the clipboard. It's not obj browse kind of, right? So that time everything is captured. Where is that screenshot? See, they will get everything, including px, py, pz, what all, they'll get everything. So no need to explicitly mention that. However, I doubt there is some issue with the refresh strategy. Let me just check this. Does it have? No, we don't have refresh strategy for this one, right? Okay. What is going wrong? Let me flush the D page once. Hmm, this is weird. If fetching data it is working, why is data not present on this? Is this a different rule? D underscore update customer info. Is this my savable one or not? It is my savable one. Something is wrong. Why is the data not coming on the D page here? See, it is found under user pages. Don't go for these pages. D underscore update customer info, right? Where is that? This is declare. D underscore update. Where is that? No, this page itself is not coming. Page itself is not coming.
It's available, Nicola.
Where? Can you
Can
just
you
show
scroll down?
me?
Can you scroll down?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, I find it now. Data is here. What's the problem?
So even though you're saying, Nicola, even though you mentioned 3 fields for update, when it has to go and insert, it takes the entire record.
Exactly. Oh, this is the mistake, my man. When you're calling the savable data page, I didn't pass the parameter. Look at this. So while saving, they don't have the account number. That's the problem. See, I told you, right? Uh, this works in two ways. If you don't use that save data page smart shape or save data page measure post processing, it will just retrieve the data. So retrieving the data is working perfect. Inserting data is not working perfect. The reason is, where did you call to insert the data? You are calling it from the flow action to insert the data. Now you have to pass the param, right? I forgot to mention the parameter. That's the reason it's not working. Let me add my parameter here. You can just say that's your property, right? Account number. Hey, whatever property you have on py workpage, give that. Don't give whatever I'm giving. Okay, this is my property on py workpage, so I'm giving that. Now you give your property. It will not come in the down arrow. You have to give it. That's the issue. There is no parameter getting passed yet. Okay, perfect. Now let's try. Let me refresh this once. Pause your tracer. If your tracer is up and running, your application will slow down. Optional action, update customer info, clear the tracer, and you know that this will execute only the data page to fetch the data. Only upon submission, I added that logic which is going to insert data into DB or update data into DB. So till here, it's not a savable data page. It's just like a normal data page. It is behaving. Now, I would like to update the data here. Okay, and clear, submit. See, it went without any issues. Why don't you check in the tracer now? Why is it commit method not found? Array, something wrong here. Ideally, you will see that commit method executing here. Anyways, let's see in the database, is it updated or not? My table, I just gave a name as Raki. Let's see whether it is there or not for 12345 account number. You can see this. Okay, the data got updated. Now let me try another one. It's an optional action, right? You can trigger it as many times as you want on the same work object. Okay, I would like to do it for any other account number. Maybe for this one, 120. Okay, you got the data. Contact number was all zeros. So I would like to give a different contact number. Okay, clear the tracer. I would like to enable DB query as well. Clear it. Submit. Okay, you can see this. Opening the instance 123456789 means they are trying to open that from DB. Okay, they are updating the data, and then you can see wrote blob to database means they have committed your data. Okay, so you can see here they have committed the data to customer data table. They have committed the data. This would not have triggered if you didn't use those three options to save call the savable data page. So remember, savable data page can be used just to display the data or insert the data as well. In both the ways you can use it. If you don't use those three options to call the savable data page, it is just to fetch the data. Only when you call those options, data gets inserted into the database tables. Any questions so far? So as a part of savable data pages, you learned about optional actions, you learned about embedded sections today. Yes,
Nikhila,
somebody has a question? Yes, please.
uh, I this savable databases we can use both for internal database and external database, right?
External, I never tried, but I doubt actually. But they say this local save is for internal. Um, See, I mean, like if this is enabled, we don't modify an external system, something like that. They say never tried for external. Mm, maybe you can use this RDB activity in combination with RDB methods to the external database tables. That way you can do external.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So answering you to your question, yes, you can do external, but use an activity option here and RDB save, and you can do that. Not using OBJ save.
Nikhila, I have a question.
Mhm.
Yeah, as you said, lookup access OBJ browse and
No, no, OBJ open.
yeah, OBJ open. Okay, we can go by using activity only, right? OBJ open. Then why again an
Yeah,
option
you can
called
try. Yes, yes. But as I told you, why do you want to write activities? Avoid activities as much as possible. So you have an alternative, then why activity again?
Okay.
Just a second, guys. Okay. As I told you, you can use this external data. I know you can save data to external database, but only that you have to enable this checkbox. Now, this is used when you're saving data to an external system. Yeah, otherwise we generally don't use this. Oh, I mean like vice versa. If you're saving it to Pega database and not an external system. See, if you want to save data only in your database, we need to enable this. Even if you don't enable this, it will work. Okay. But if you enable this, you can't save it to external database. You can't save it. Okay. Only within Pega database, you can do it. So whether you enable this or not, local will happen. But if you enable this, only local will happen. External will not happen. We hardly use this in real time. I never even saw this being asked in interviews. So just a good to know. You can ignore this. Any other questions so far? We are yet to do one more savable data page. Okay. Guys, you can use it even on a page list. Okay. Not only on a page, you can even try on a page list. The same logic you will be doing. Okay. Now I will teach you how to deal with a page list and insert the data. Okay, so now you have learned how to update the existing data, right? You didn't insert a new record. I taught you how to update an existing data, and I taught you how to use, page structure. Now, after the break, I'm going to teach you how to use list structure and how to use insert option. Instead of updating, how to do insert. Okay, take a break for 15 minutes, guys. We will connect back again at 8:45 and we'll resume. Okay. I will drop from the meeting, guys, and I will rejoin. Okay. You please carry on.